youngsters, okay? And remember, we told last week, we we understood what the Lord thinks about you and me, right? He thinks we are highly esteemed, and He calls us rubies. You're more far precious than rubies, He says, right? And that's the reason we need to build up our lives. Okay, so today we'll read from 13th. Okay, we'll read from 2 Samuel 13th chapter. Now, after this, it was so that Absalom, the son of David, had a lovely sister whose name was Tamar, and Amnon, the son of David, loved her. Amnon was so distressed over his sister Tamar that he became sick, for she was a virgin, and it was improper for Amnon to do anything to her. Okay, third verse. And Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimei, David's brother. Okay, now Jonadab was very crafty man. Fourth verse, I'll read. And he said to him, why are you, the king's son, becoming thinner day after day? Will you not tell me? And Amnon said to him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's son. Okay, fifth verse. So Jonadab said to him, lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes to see, you say to him, please let my sister Tamar come and give me food and prepare the food in my sight, that I may see it and eat it from her hand. Okay, so remember I told you, we just had a kickstart, we just had a introduction about these three youngsters mentioned in the third chapter of 2 Samuel, okay? And we try to define these three youngsters. The first youngster was, now after this, it was Absalom, now after this, it was so that Absalom, the son of David, had a lovely sister, okay? So this young girl, she is David's daughter, and her brother's name is Absalom. Okay, so we need to understand that those days in the olden times, see children, you need to understand that nothing in the Bible is written which doesn't concern us. Everything written in the Bible, when I realized this great truth, it really helped me. Everything written in the Bible, in a way, the Lord has written for me personally. So when I was a youngster, no matter which passage I read in the Bible, no matter which account or which illustration I read from the Bible, right from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22, no matter which passage I read, I always made it a point to understand that that passage was written to me by the Lord Himself. So everything written in the Word is a practical application, okay? So when we are reading this, it might look a little disturbing, for the youngsters, some youngsters, but nevertheless, in these last days, we need to preach the Word of God, and we need to read the Word of God as it is, verbatim, okay? We need to read it as it comes from the heavenly, as it comes to us as heavenly manna, okay? So we see in the olden days, there were kings used to marry many women, okay? Of course, in the New Testament, it doesn't hold good, and the Lord doesn't allow that, and it's only like one man and one wife, one husband and one wife. Okay, so for our lesson, to be able to understand how youngsters see children, the reason we have organized this, the reason why we are talking to all of you these things is because not that you children are into the world. It's never that. It's something like this proverb in English, right? Prevention is better than cure. Okay, it's better that we prevent ourselves from falling into the mire. Remember, I told you, out there in the world, there are miry pits, there are ditches, there are potholes. If not cautioned and if not alert, if you're not alert regarding those miry pits, you might end up falling in the pits, right? But when you're told that in this path there are many potholes, you tend to be very careful. Right? So these are the reason why we are having this young girls meet, is to caution ourselves and to keep us away from to prevent us from falling into the ditches. Okay, so it's just that we are playing it very safe, so that spiritually we might not get into trouble, because out there in the world, we tell you, remember in Song of Solomon, there are foxes who spoil the tender vineyards. There are foxes out there who are very shrewd, who are very bad, and who are crafty, who are very subtle, who try to end up devouring you and me. Okay, so this session is only for us to be careful, because there's a beautiful song in Sunday school. Oh, be careful, oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful, little ears, what you hear. There's a father up above who's watching his children down below. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful, little eyes, hears what you hear. Oh, be careful, little hands, what you do. Oh, be careful, little lips, what you speak. Okay. Oh, be careful, little legs, where you walk. No. So why did we sing this song as a youngster or as a Sunday school student? Because we need to be careful in this world. So all along this, all the 66 books of the Bible talk us talk to us about being very careful. Okay, so we realize in this 2 Samuel 13 chapter, okay, David had many wives, and one of those wives had Absalom, and Absalom's brother sister is Tamar. Okay, and David had also another wife, and that wife's son is Amnon. Okay, go to see the relationship between Tamar and Amnon is brother and sister. Okay, we are in the church, we are all brother and sister. Where did we all come from? We came from Adam and Eve, right? So they were there. Every believer is a brother and every believer is a sister for us. Okay, so we'll right now define the qualities of Tamar. Okay, so number one, we see here in the 13th chapter, first verse. Now after that, this it was so that Absalom, the son of David, had a lovely sister. Okay, the first one is Tamar was a beautiful girl to behold. She was a lovely sister. Dear children, did anybody call you a lovely girl? Okay, did anybody call you how beautiful you are? Okay, and how long when we are in the presence of the Lord, it's the Lord who in Romans 8:29 it says the reason why you and I are the purpose behind you and me being on this earth is so that you and I can become as Christ. See, please turn with me. As youngsters, what is the reason for you and me to be born in this earth? What is the purpose? There is a purpose. See, ants are being born, cats are being born, dogs are being born, okay, and even termites are being born, and the cockroaches are being born. But compared to them, our life is very precious because they see God might not have a purpose for them because they just created when the Lord said open his mouth and they got created. But when he created man, when he created you and me, he sat down on Saturday and he took time to create man in his own image. So there is a purpose. See, what is the purpose today as youngsters? What is your purpose and my purpose to be born in this earth? What is the purpose? See, Romans 8:29. I'll read Romans 8:29. It says, for whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. So he also predestined. He predestined you and he created you, for he knew you, and to be conformed to the image of his son. So the reason why you and I are created in mother's womb for 9 months or 280 days is because the Lord has a purpose. Dear children, you need to understand, as God's children, as youngsters, as young ladies, there is a purpose. We are not born by accident. You can never say, I do not have talents. What am I of use to any? I'm of no use to the Lord because I'm just a teeny, small, shy, tender girl. I'm not bold as others are. I'm not courageous. I cannot sing. I cannot do anything. I'm just a shy girl. I can just sit in the corner of the room. No, even if you're shy, even if you're unable to talk with friends, if you're not that courageous like how your friend is or how your sister is, remember God has a purpose, and it's up to you and me to understand that purpose. God, there's a beautiful book, I think you should read that. It says purpose driven life, and none in this world is born without a purpose. I want to tell you about a young girl. I don't know if I've repeated. I don't mind repetition. Okay. There was this young girl who was crippled in both her legs. Okay. Because I'm saying the reason why the purpose, why the Lord brought you into this world is the purpose. There is a purpose. So this young girl, she was born again and she wanted to run for the Lord. But what to do? Both her legs are crippled and she's in a wheelchair. Okay. So then she tells her mom, Mommy, I want to be used by the Lord, but how can I be used? Because I cannot run, I cannot walk, I cannot go anywhere on my own because somebody has to pull my wheelchair. Okay. Then the mother says, my dear child, you might not have proper legs to walk. Maybe you need somebody to always assist you. But remember, did you ever realize that you have a very beautiful smile? You have $1,000 worth of beautiful smile. Children, after this program is over, look at yourself in the mirror and smile for yourself. How beautiful you look. What a beautiful smile the Lord has given you. So assess yourself, what a beautiful girl you are. Okay. So the mother says, you have a very beautiful smile, dear. So why don't you use the smile for the Lord's glory? So then the child thinks, I'll do one thing. And she starts doing that thing, which the Lord prompted her through the mother. Okay. And then finally, one Sunday, the church she goes to for worship is a very scantily attended church. Very few children, very few people come, But one day when she starts doing what the Lord told her, the whole church is filled. The second Sunday also, new people start coming. In the third Sunday, new people start. The pastor or the God servant of the church is overwhelmed. Why is it that people are coming so far, no matter how much ministry I did, no matter how door-to-door preaching I did, no matter how much I convinced people to come to the church, they have not come. How come all these people are coming? New believers, new sheep are coming, and they're listening to the word of God. They're getting saved, and they're undergoing, a lot of tremendous change. Then the pastor asks everybody, how did you come? How did you come? All the people who have come new to the church, they say, there's a girl out there outside your church, a girl who's crippled in both her legs. She sits in a wheelchair, and with a beautiful, with the most beautiful smile in the world, she smiles at us and she gives us the invitation and she says, please come to our church. Our church is a beautiful place to listen to the word of God. And we have not come because you preached, Father or Pastor, because the girl with the heavenly smile, she invited us. And that's the reason we are here. And when we came to the church, we heard your gospel and we are saved now. Dear children, remember that girl's got a beautiful smile, and so that is the purpose for that girl, for the child, who's of your age. She might be crippled, she might not walk, she had all her frailties, she had all her weaknesses, but she used the weakness to glorify the Lord. There is a word, beautiful verse. It says, "For when I'm weak, then am I strong." So the purpose, see, remember this Tamar is a beautiful girl to behold. She's such an awesome girl. So as I talk to this crowd in this room, I know all of you are very beautiful in the Lord. So in Romans 8:29, it says, the reason why we are born, the reason why we are put in this world, the Lord's purpose is that we become more like Jesus. The reason why we need to come to these sessions more often is because we need to reflect the Lord's love. We need to, even as we walk with the Lord, we need to become more like Jesus, to be like Jesus. All I want is to be like him in all life's journey. From life to glory, all I want is to be like him. So we need to be like Jesus, okay? And we need to be lovely for the Lord. So Tamar is number one. She's a lovely sister. She's a beautiful girl. And the second one is, she's a virgin, and she was a virgin, okay? So this girl, virgin in the sense, she was a pure. She kept her life. What is the name of the book which you hold it right now in your hands? This book which we preach, which book we read every day is called the Holy Bible, right? And the God of the Bible is called the Holy God. And the children as you and me follow this Holy Bible. We are called holy people, holy nation. Israel is called a holy nation, and the church is called a holy place. And as believers, we are called as holy children, okay? Holy daughters and holy sons, okay? So when you and I are called as a holy nation and are called as a holy generation, how holy we should maintain ourselves. We should be holy in everything, right? And this God of the Bible is a holy God. This book is called the Holy Book, and people following it are holy people, right? So nothing filthy should ever enter us, okay? So this girl Tamar, she's a virgin. She's beautiful. Number one, she's beautiful, and she's holy in everything, in her behavior, in her character, in her dressing, okay, in the way she talks with people, in everything. She's a holy girl. She's leading a holy life, and the character is of holy nature, right? And also we've seen, and Tamar means palm tree. Palm tree means very tall, elegant tree, okay? So, and that is one of the holy trees of the Bible. See, children, as children, you need to know the fruits of the Bible, the trees of the Bible, the oils of the Bible, and the plagues of the Bible, the tribes of the Bible, the disciples of all these things you should know by memory, okay? Because these are the things which really really help us in, if at all we go to quiz, okay? So whatever it is, the palm tree is a holy tree, and it's you find it in oasis, and you find where water is there, okay? So whatever it is, that we're not going to dwell on that. She's a palm tree, okay? And also that it says, so we'll just stop here. So she's a lovely girl, and she's a holy girl, and she's a Tamar. Tamar means palm tree. And now we'll come to Amnon. Amnon, what kind of Amnon? Amnon means faithful and true, okay? Remember, I told you about these three youngsters, okay? And we see the instant happening, rotating around these three youngsters, okay? So the second young boy is, what's his name? Amnon. Amnon, for the name Amnon, the meaning is faithful and true, okay? Faithful and true. So that means this boy Amnon is David's son as well, okay? He's David's son. And also, because he was nurtured in the home of David, the name itself means, faithful and true, okay? So as God's children, as youngsters, we should be faithful to the Lord, and we should be true to ourselves, okay? And we'll see what happened after that, okay? And also he's son of David, and it says, whose name was, and Amnon, the son of David, loved her, okay? So as youngsters, I told you, remember the very first class, we defined what youth, Y-O-U-T-H is, okay? And in Y-O-U-T-H, the H1 is, T is temptation. Youngsters do undergo temptation. Children, I tell you, as youngsters, as young adults and as teens, I understand how much of temptation you all go through. This temptation from within, temptation from without, temptation in the world. And go to see, there was a young boy who told me, Anyaka, youngsters, when they commit something bad, it could be anything. It could be, bunking classes, or it could be, like, having an affair, or going to, or having bad habits, or thinking bad, everything. Akka, it's never that the youngsters, especially youngsters are born in the Christian home, it's never that they do not know. They know that it's bad, but in spite of knowing that it's bad, they end up doing that. Did you get the point? So as a young girl and as a young boy, youngsters do know this is bad. Okay, this I'm not supposed to do. But we end up doing that in spite of knowing it's bad. That's why in Leviticus it says the sins which we commit intentionally, and the sins. So youngsters, we commit two kinds of sins: intentional and unintentional. Okay, I know the crowd which I'm talking to is very smart crowd. I would like to youngsters, as youngsters, we commit two kinds of mistakes. Okay, the first one is replaceable mistakes, and the second one is irreplaceable mistakes. Okay, remember, two mistakes youngsters commit. The first one, replaceable mistakes. Replaceable mistakes in the sense, suppose you take iron rod. Okay, you all know iron rod, right? And you burn it in the fire, it becomes red. Okay, it becomes red hot, and you take that iron rod and quickly take the red iron hot rod and put it in a bucket of water. What happens? It becomes iron again, right? So it's what change? It's a physical change. This change can be rectified. Okay, so this is the first kind of mistakes youngsters do. Suppose you get angry with a friend, and you end up shouting at her. There's always a chance for us to go back to her and say sorry, it's okay, so now everything is okay. But the second mistake is irreplaceable mistake. Okay, suppose you take milk. I mean, now because with lockdown, I know all sisters are helping mummies in the kitchen. Okay, so you take hot milk, okay, the medium hot milk, and you put curd in that. Okay, and what happens when you put curd in the milk? What happens? It becomes curd, right? And no force on this earth can make that curdling milk into milk again. You put it in the stove and try to make tea, it becomes curd, right? So that change, it's a chemical change. It's a change which happened, which cannot be rectified again, irreplaceable. The first one is replaceable, and the second one is irreplaceable. Children, as youngsters, it's okay if you commit replaceable mistakes. We can always say sorry, always come back to the Lord. But if you end up committing irreplaceable mistakes, you're going to see the same irreplaceable mistake in this 13th chapter of 2 Samuel. I tell you, no matter how hard you try, you can never get back the joy of salvation which the Lord gives. So we need to be very careful. We need to be very alert. Unless and until we are not, sometimes when I was a youngster, my mom she told me, Papa, you should, as a young girl, you should imagine that you're walking on ice. Suppose there are two mountains, and from this mountain to this mountain, there's a bridge, okay? And the bridge is made of ice. Suppose the bridge, remember, the bridge is not made of iron, it's not made of wood, it's not made of any metal, it's made of only thick ice. Suppose you want to walk from this mountain to this mountain. How will you walk? Will you walk will you walk like that? You take all the steps in the world to walk very carefully, lest you fall down in the valley. As a young girl, my mom told me, be very careful when you walk, because this world will break you. This world will torture you. This world will make havoc with your life. You need to be very careful. Children, I did that. The Lord helped me to really have a careful walk. Otherwise, I would not be where I am today, because I would be in the world. I would be a broken child. I would not be a happy married girl like how I am now. Because out there in the world, somebody told me to be very careful as a young girl. Okay. So remember, what am I telling you? So this man, David's son Amnon, he loved her, so he knows. I told temptation. So youngsters do get tempted. So the second point about Amnon is, he looked at her and he saw that she was beautiful. But this man, according to his name is faithful and true. So he knew, oh my God, I am tempted. I know I'm not supposed to do anything to the girl because she is my cousin. And also as a young girl, as a young man, I'm not supposed to look at her at all. There's this old man in the book of Job in 30th chapter, first verse, it says, I've made a covenant with my eyes that I will not behold a young virgin. An old tata, he's saying, I've made a commitment. Covenant, it says. Covenant is vada. Hindi mein vada bolte hain. I made a covenant with my eyes that I will not look at a young girl. When an old tata could have a covenant with his eyes, how careful we should be. That we should not look at the world, out there in the world. You remember in John 15th chapter, there are three lost things, right? Lost coin, lost sheep, and lost son. And why did the sheep get lost? Because as long as the sheep was keeping its eye on the shepherd, she was walking okay. But once when the baby sheep started looking at the world, it fell in the ditch. What happened? When it lost the sight of the shepherd, when it lost the words of the shepherd, it looked at the world and it went astray and and what happened? It fell in the ditch, and she was bruised all over, and she was all the time, the sheep was mourning till the shepherd came back and found, right? The reason why the lost sheep fell into the pit is because it was not careful. It was not careful to avoid her eyes from looking at the world, right? So remember, this Amnon was a man of worth. He was, because his name faces faithful and true, but he had a temptation. And dear children, you after the program is over, you try to read this chapter. He knew that he was tempted, but he tried to keep the temptation to himself. He didn't want to. He didn't want to lose in the temptation, because he knew that falling in love with a young virgin is not right. Okay, and I should keep my eyes holy, because my father David is a great ardent worshipper of the Lord. So I need to keep up his name. So I will not. I am tempted, children. We do get tempted in this world. Do not think that your mummies and daddies or even your Auntie Annie has not been tempted. Yes, we have been tempted when we were youngsters, but praise God, we have overcome. We tried very hard to overcome temptation. Okay. Yes, there were times when we did fall, but then great is the faithfulness to whether that we have not fallen. We have not fallen flat to the world. Yes, we did get tempted. So nobody can say, I'm not tempted. I'm such a holy God. I'm a goddess sitting here. I'm just with all the heavenlies. I know we are all tempted, because we are in the human flesh. We get tempted. Okay, so this guy Amnon got tempted, but he's a man of faithfulness and he's a man of truth, and that's the reason he did not do anything to her. I'll come to the main point, okay? And then, see, Amnon was so, and not only that, the third one, he was distressed, okay? Why he was distressed? Because when the moment he started looking at her, he got bad thoughts, okay? He started thinking bad about her. He started imagining many things. I told you, YOUTH. Youngsters, they live in a world of fantasy. They imagine so many things. You live in a world of fairy tales, okay? You live in a world of where so many imaginations are there in this burra, in this brain, infinite brain, okay? So he was distressed over. Remember, children, when you are in a bad relationship, when your eyes are not holy, when your thoughts are not holy, when your brain is full of evil thoughts, you get distressed. You're not happy anymore. Okay, you lose the joy of salvation. Remember, when you are saved, God gives you salvation. At the same time, He gives you a joy of salvation. But no, when you're born again, our heart is so pumping with joy, But I tell you, when sin comes in, remember, you do not lose your salvation, but you lose the joy of salvation. So when you enter sin, or when with this brain, if you encounter bad thoughts, you no longer will enjoy the Lord's presence. You no longer will enjoy the holiness of the Lord. You no longer will enjoy the Lord's commands, because the evil has come. Because in Isaiah 15 it says, your sins have separated you from the Lord. So sin is the thing which will separate us from the Lord. And imagine if you're separated from the Lord, how havoc it is with us, right? So he knew that he was not supposed to do anything to that girl, and he was distressed over his sister, okay? And he became sick. The fourth one is regarding okay, we're just writing points, okay? So I did like this. I made 3 columns for Tamar: qualities of Tamar, qualities of Amnon, qualities of his friend Jonadab. Okay, so I did this so that for myself, so that I could clearly understand what these 3 people definition is. Okay, and see this sin. What sin? The sin of the eyes. When he looked at her, he's not supposed to do anything to her, because he is a person. His name is faithful and just. He know it was improper for him to do anything, and that's the reason he became sick. When temptation is there, when you undergo temptation and when you fall prey to temptation, you become sick. And what is the sickness? It's not the physical sickness, it's the mental sickness, the emotional sickness. You no longer enjoy the Lord's presence. You no longer enjoy his anointing. You don't enjoy his word. because sin has. There was this girl, a very close friend of mine, okay, and she was she heard the gospel. She said she was born again, and but she was a very she was a girl who would always her thoughts would be in the world, and no matter where we would study together, we were classmates together, and every time her thoughts were so evil, she would look at boys and comment, and she would try to she would flirt with them, and all these kinds of things she would do. And one fine day, the boy whom she flirted with, he came and said, I love you also. And this girl said, even I love you. But what happened, she was already in courtship with somebody else, and she literally became so depressed. She said, honey, actually the person whom I like, whom I flirted, now that boy wants to be a friend, my friend, but now why is it that I'm very sick? Okay. So I tell you, children, these are, I told you again, I know I'm talking to a wrong crowd. You children are very good, but as youngsters, as mummies and as aunties, we're just trying to help you to prevent all these things from affecting you. Okay. So the third one is, because of this sin made him very sick. Sick in the sense he was no longer happy. He was not enjoying the presence of his father, King David. He was not also able to enjoy the worship which the father David was performing in the temple, and he was far away from fellowshipping with the Lord. So that is, so number one, Amnon is faithful and true. He's a son of David. He got distressed and he became sick. Okay, and it says, and it was improper for Amnon to do anything to her. So this man is a man with good principles. He knew that I'm not supposed to do anything because she's a young girl and I'm not supposed to do anything. So he's a man of some integrity. Okay, now we'll come to the third person. The third verse. And Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimei. Okay, David's brother. Now, Jonadab was very crafty man. Okay, so Jonadab, there mean many meanings. It says God impels, and his Jonadab means liberality. Liberality means free. Okay, a person is very free in the sense, come on, you want to be with the world, my soul, eat and drink, be merry. Okay, now on from Monday to Saturday, sing cinema songs, and on Sunday come and sing how faithful the Lord is. Okay, so this youngster, the third youngster, Jonadab, he depicts the worldly person. Okay, his main name means liberality. Of course, God impels also free giver, and he's a person who gives advice free. Okay, and I tell you, we're going to learn, even as we take a journey through these three youngsters, we're going to learn, this man was crafty, it says. Okay, and now Jonadab was very crafty. Okay, and he's a friend. Whose friend? Amnon's friend. Remember, Amnon is a good guy. Okay, his name says faithful and true. Okay, and he's a man of integrity. He's a son of David. He knows what it means to worship the Lord. Okay, and also because of the sin, he knew that he's not supposed to touch the young girl, and it's improper for him to touch. He's a man of integrity, and he just kept this to himself. But this friend, it says, he's a liberal person, a person who gives everything is free. Remember, suppose, and because you're youngsters, I just want to tell you, out there in Europe or any other place, any other countries out there in the world, there are seashores where it's called a naked seashore, where everybody comes naked. Okay, I was shocked when I heard for the first time. Everything is free. You want to go with that guy, go ahead. You want to go with the girl, go ahead. Okay, everything is given free. Liquor is free, smoking is free. But maybe things you do not know. But this man Jonadab means liberality. There's everything. Now out there in the world, there's so many bad things which are happening, children. Okay, I tell you, even in the cell now all this Airtel and all, they give you free talk time. Why do we need this cell? This cell is for us to tell mommy, I'm in the school, I'm starting now. It's only for communication. But youngsters are using free talk time. They're talking all rotten things in the world. They're texting all rotten things in the world. They're circulating, because it's everything is free talk time, free card and geo, all free net, and all this data and all, everything is free. So this world is offering youngsters, there's one nice comic which came out recently. It says, the small boy comes, his net is over, the data, what they call it, data, right? The cell data is over, and that guy comes and says, daddy, I don't want any of your property, just to give me data every day for 24 hours. That small guy is asking, I don't want your property, I don't want your house, I don't want your car, daddy, please give me 24 hours free internet. For me, must hai. That is enough for me. Youngsters are like that. I tell you, when that day's data is over, I tell you, youngsters are like, as if they're drugged, it's like, they're not able to sit till they get back their data. Why? Because everything is given free, liberality, right? So Jonadab means liberality. And he's the guy who gives liberal advices, very bad advices. Remember, Amnon is a good guy, okay? But now see, so Jonadab means liberality, and now he's a friend of Amnon, okay? So that's the children, that's the reason we need to be very careful regarding our friends. So every college you go to, every new college you go to, every new institute you go to, you need to pray, Lord, help me to get a very good set of friends who are very spiritual, friends who do not play havoc with their lives, friends who do not talk all rotten things, Lord, friends who are very holy, friends who have holy conversation. So we need to, when there's a verse, there's a proverb out there in the world, you tell me your friends, you show me your friends, and I tell you who you are. So we are, okay, in a way, people read us by by the kind of friends we have. So we need to be, you're in the prime time of your life. You're at the crossroads, If you fall into good friends, fine, your life is good. If you fall into bad friendship, your life is gone. Your life is ruined, right? So this guy's, Amnon's life is ruined. We go to see Tamar's life is ruined because of a crafty friend, okay? So the third one is, this guy is a crafty guy, okay? Crafty in the sense, very, he's like a cheater, okay? And he's very subtle. And suppose you sit on a mat, suppose one glass of water drips, and the water just flows down the mat, right? Okay. And how Satan also is subtle. How does Satan come? He comes like a serpent. He just comes, see, very quietly. There's a hole there in the wall. He comes very quietly, very subtly, and he'll come and just, overtake he'll somewhere roll into round and he'll sit there, right? So Satan is very subtle. So this guy, Jonadab, is a subtle guy, very, very quietly and very, without even any indication, he tried to, or he did exactly, he accomplished his purpose. He ruined the lives of two youngsters, okay? So Jonadab is a crafty guy, okay? So then what happened, we see, before that, okay, I told you, this Tamar is a lovely sister. She's a beautiful girl, and she's a virgin, and she's a hardworking girl, okay? But the problem with her was, she was not careful. She's a very beautiful child. She's a very beautiful from within and without, but she was not careful. I tell you, children, she grew in the house of David, and we know David is an ardent worshipper of the Lord. David is a person with integrity. King David was a person who waged wars, God's wars, okay? He waged God's wars, and he won every war, okay? And all the Psalms is written, and every Psalm is a beautiful expression of the life he led, right? So Tamar's father was a wonderful father, okay? And a spiritual father, and a beautiful worshipper, right? So she also grew up into a wonderful child of God. She also grew in the fear of the Lord. And how do we say that? Because all along she was a virgin. She kept her life, she kept up her testimony, Children, suppose there's a white wall, okay? And I painted the wall very beautifully, okay? So the wall is very beautiful white. And I tell, oh, my children, okay, I'll say, Vijaya, the wall is so beautiful, no? Then Vijaya says, no, Anaka, the black spot is there, No matter how wide the wall is, if there's a small black spot on the wall, people forget the whole white wall. They start looking at the black spot, okay? I tell you, children, as youngsters, suppose we commit something which we're not supposed to, God will forget that mistake, and he will forget, but men will never forgive, they will never forget. So we need to be as youngsters, we need to be very careful with our testimony. Once the testimony is ruined, when we falter in a testimony, the whole world will remember till we go to the grave. So that's the reason we need to be very careful, okay? So Tamar, she was a very spiritual girl, lovely girl, and she was a virgin. She kept herself very holy, but she was not careful, okay? She was not careful. Today, as God's children, we need to be careful, okay? So we see here, 13th chapter, 2 Samuel 13. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimei, David's brother. Now, Jonadab was a very crafty man, okay? And he said to him, why are you, the king's son, become thinner day after day? Now, the fourth point about Amnon is, because of this sin, he became thin. King's son will eat good food, right? King's son is Amnon, right? David's son is Amnon. Because I told you 3 columns I've written. As and when the point comes, I'm writing. Okay. So Amnon is a king's son, and the kind of food he eats is a royal food, right? And eating royal food, he should be very plump and he should be healthy. But because of this sin, what is the sin? The sin is encountering in the brain. The temptation is going through that made him thin and thin and thin. And the food which is not eating is not is not making him strong. So that's making him thin. He's losing the joy of salvation. He's losing the fellowship of the Father, and it's making him very sick. Okay, so thin. It says, "Why are you the king's son?" Fourth verse, and he said to them, "Why are you the king's son becoming thinner day by day after day? Will you not tell me?" This friend is saying, "Hey, come on, Ray, I'm your friend." No, Ray. Our friends will tell, no, they tell me your secret, Ray. What, do you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend? Our friends will say, no, hey, come on, Ray, tell Ray, unknown, what is it bothering you, Ray? As if he wants to help. Okay. Our friends are like that, children. They try to bring out our secrets. They try to they will not tell their secrets. They will keep everything secret and they want to expose us. I tell you, those kinds of friends. Today we're going to see there are many kinds of friends out there in the world. Every friend is not a real friend, dear children. They're out there to spoil your life. They're out there to put you down. They're out there to really make your life havoc. If you're not careful, your life also will get spoiled. Okay. So he's saying, come on, Ray, will you not tell me? And he said, will you not tell me? Then what happened? Amnon, he thought maybe this friend, at least now let me tell. And I tell you, many friends will tell, hey, come on, Ray, tell me your problems. I'll carry all your problems. I'll make sure I'll put your problems in my heart. They will not do that. Once you tell all your problems, they'll take a mic and they'll declare to the whole world, this Annie girl, her secret is like this. They'll expose us. Those kind of friends are there. We need to have a faithful friend, such a faithful friend. Our God is such a faithful friend, right? So then he said, and Amnon said to him, and finally, this guy, the good guy, Amnon, faithful and true, his name indicates, and a person who was till now trying to overcome temptation. Remember, children, Amnon was a guy who was trying to overcome his temptation and is making every effort to stay away from Tamar. But once this friend came, he started igniting. He started, talking. And Amnon said to him, I love Tamar, my brother, Absalom's sister. Okay, so the secret is, children, never reveal your secrets to anyone, except the Lord and your parents. You should not share your heart to anybody else, because people say, what can they do when you share your problems, when you share your skills, when you share your secrets? They cannot do anything. They will just only humiliate us, right? So now this guy said, fifth verse, see now this Jonadab is a crafty man and is, he's like, trying to make a plan, where this Amnon will get in touch with Tamar. He's saying, see, fifth verse. So Jonadab said to him, lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. Yeah. Youngsters, they pretend a lot. I tell you, children, maybe in the news and maybe the newspaper, you see, all these love affairs which fail. They'll say, come on, you tell love me, otherwise I'll cut my hand. Okay. And this girl says, I love you. All this trash, all these things, children, when you listen to the news and all these bad things which are happening, you need to thank yourself that you're in a safe zone. Okay. So he said to them, fifth verse. So Jonadab said to him, lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, please let my sister Tamar come and give me food and prepare the food in my sight that I may see it and eat it from her hand. So he's sketching out a plan where Tamar will come to his room and prepare. And tell you, Tamar was very, very careless. Children, as youngsters, I tell you, this is a situation where we find it very rare in the Bible. But I tell you, there are many situations where if we are not careful, we tend to end up in trouble. Okay. So quickly, I'll give you a few tips how to be careful, how to be beware. Tamar was not careful when Amnon called her to his room to make the bread. She was not careful. I tell you, children, we should be very careful. There's from my house to Amirpet, some of you know Hyderabad, so we earlier when we shifted to this house, I was in Inter, and I used to walk to the bus stop there to Amirpet and take a bus and go to my college, St. Francis. Okay, so and when I would walk, there would be many boys sitting there. Okay, and one fine day, how we should be careful. One fine day, I had an umbrella in my hand. Okay, it was not raining, but I used to carry an umbrella. And when I was walking, opposite me, there was one guy coming, and See, suppose if you're not careful, we're just walking like that with our key eyes on top, that fellow will come and hit us, okay? So this fellow, as he was coming closer to me, I realized that he wanted to do something to me, or maybe he wanted to touch my shoulder, or maybe pull my bag, or do something, or touch this. I don't know what he was up to, but I was careful because my mom told me, when you walk, when you stand in a bus stop also, suppose your classmate comes and stands by your side, just leave that place and stand in a place where many crowd is there, many people are there. Because if I stand in a bus stop and I talk to my classmate who's just a friend, people might think many things. This girl nicely, she's sitting in the church, but here she's talking to a boy. So my mom told me, in the group of, see, as God's children, we taught in our church to have the rule of two. Okay, I'll quickly finish, because we're already running out of time. Okay, so rule of two, my mom told me, and we taught in our church also, we should always talk. I think I already told you, but I don't mind mentioning it again. Okay, we need to, suppose I talk, suppose you're seeing me, okay, I'm married now, I have a big girl. Suppose I'm talking to one boy, I'm sitting in one canteen and sitting with one boy. What will you think? Ann auntie, nicely she'll tell word of God. Now she's now she's not sitting with Job uncle, she's sitting with somebody else uncle and she's talking. Suppose I'm sitting with Job uncle and one more brother is there. So okay. So we tell the youngsters, Nana, every time, whether you're a girl or a boy, always see to yourself that when you're sitting with the opposite sex, make sure you're sitting with 3 people. So you're sitting and one more boy is sitting and one more classmate, a girl is sitting and you're sitting in the canteen, it's okay, no problem. So you speak with opposite sex in the group of 3, okay? And then keep at a distance, you keep yourself with that boy at a distance of, talk with the boy with a distance of 3 feet, okay? Suppose you're sitting with the boy very close, where your shoulder is touching his shoulder, what happens? Oh, so many emotions come, right? So we should talk to a boy in the presence of 3 persons at a distance of 3 feet, okay? And talk only for 3 minutes, okay? If you chat for 3 hours, gone case, right? And also talk only 3 words. When I was telling this to young girls there, Akka, we should tell only 3 words, then I'll tell I love you, Akka, okay? It's not the thing. 3 words, then keep yourself, limit yourself, when you talk to the opposite sex, right? Okay, so we need to be very careful, children. If you're not careful, we really fall into dumps. Okay, I'll just take 3 more minutes, okay, because this girl Tamar was a beautiful girl, but what to do, she was not careful. Okay, as God's children, we need to be very careful. If you're not careful, this kind of a friend, because we do not have time today, God willing, next week, maybe next week Saumyaka will talk to us. Maybe in the year, maybe the weeks to come, we will see what kind of friends the Bible talks about. Okay, and we are going to read this chapter as a series. Okay, so quickly, how we need to be careful in this world as God's children, as young girls, how you and I should be careful. Okay, remember, this session is for all of us to prevent ourselves from the forthcoming problems. The first one, okay, in Exodus 23, beware. Okay, see, Tamar was not careful, and that's the reason she fell in a ditch and her life was totally chaotic because she was not careful. Children, as God's children, why did the Lord time and again in the books he has written to the believers, time and again, why did he have to say beware, beware, beware? Mummies, when we go out, they tell us, no, put the picture properly, do this properly, be careful, be careful. Mummies say, right? So the Lord is also, as a good father, is saying, number one, we'll quickly do the references and we'll stop because today I'm actually supposed to talk about friendship also, but no time. So, okay, God willing, next week we'll do. Okay, Exodus 23:21, it says, beware of him and obey his voice. Okay, no matter where you go, no matter which area, maybe we go to college, maybe you go to shop, maybe you go to groceries, maybe you go for anything else, or go for a birthday party. Remember, beware of him. We need to be very careful. We need to take the Lord along with us. Okay, when you go to a friend's birthday party, take the Lord along. When the Lord is with you, you can never get into trouble, right? The problem is, there's a young girl in among 12 tribes. Also, there's one girl called Dina. She was not careful. She went to Shechem without any protection. Okay, and what happened? The men of Shechem, they killed her, and they did all kind of rotten things. Okay, so the first one is, we need to be beware of him. We need to be aware of him and take him and obey his voice. Okay, the second one, Deuteronomy 6:12, it says, beware, okay, lest thou forget the Lord from the house of bondage. He says, when the Lord has brought you from Egypt to Canaan, remember that he's brought you out of bondage, and beware, be careful, or beware in the sense, be careful. Okay, in Telugu it says Jagrata. We need to be careful lest thou forget the Lord. Never forget the Lord. Okay, involve the Lord in everything, in the way you converse, when you talk over the phone with somebody, when you go shopping with somebody, when you talk to somebody in the college, when you talk to somebody in the church, remember to take the Lord along. Okay, when the Lord is with you, you can never fall into trouble. So the second one is beware lest the never be careful never to forget the Lord. Okay, the third one, always keep the Lord in front of you, and you can never meddle with your life. Satan cannot meddle with your life. The third one is Deuteronomy 15:9. It says, beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart. Okay, meaning be careful that you do not nurture evil thought. Okay, because I tell you, dear children, this brain is very evil. And if you were to understand what all thoughts are in this, you will never listen to my message, because such evil thoughts are in this brain. No matter how big we are now, how older people we are, this brain is very evil. It says this is very wicked. The third one is we should be careful not to nurture any bad thought. The reason why Amnon life is gone down the drain, the reason why Tamar's life is gone down the drain is because Amnon nurtured a bad thought, evil thought. So children, be very careful. It says our thought pattern should be very clean. Okay, our thought pattern should be very holy, because we serve a holy God. The third one is we need to be careful about our evil thoughts, wicked thoughts. Okay, and the third one is Judges 13:4. It says, be careful or beware. Okay, I pray thee, and drink not wine or strong drink, and need not unclean thing. Meaning we should never encounter anything which is bad. Okay, outside in the world it's very bad movies, okay, bad friendship, and bad habits, and bad everything out there in the world. And there's only there's death there, but there's life in the church, right? There's life in the Lord's presence. So the fourth thing we should be careful is not to have the pleasures. There's one proverb. It says, if you want to be happy for 3 hours, watch a movie. Okay, if you want to be happy for 5 minutes, take a cigarette. If you want to be happy for one night, drink. These are all the bad things in the world. So what the world is talking about pleasures is temporary. Okay, but what does the pleasure which the Lord gives? The Lord gives his pleasures out of his bounty. When you fellowship with the Lord, when you fellowship with his holy God, he gives out of his bounty, meaning he gives out of his inheritance. He gives us joy. He gives us peace. He gives us every beautiful thing from above, right? So we need to be the fourth one. We need to be careful, which the world talks about the pleasures. The pleasures are very temporary. I tell you, out there in the world, there's one young girl like you who told me, Baka, see, out there in the world, they can watch movies, they can go to parties, they can do anything. But we all the time prayer, 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 prayer. No, see, I tell you, no, Nana, see, there's so much of joy in the presence of the Lord. No, out there in the world, it might look they're living very stylish life, but their lives are very chaotic and havoc. It's not right. So the fourth one is we need to be careful regarding the pleasures which the world gives. Okay, and the pleasures the world gives are temporary, but the pleasures which the Lord gives is eternal. That's the fourth one. Fifth one, Matthew 7:15, it says, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep clothing. Remember, I told you Song of Solomon. Out there in the world, there are wolves, okay? And there are they are like sheep, but they're inwardly, they are ravening wolves, okay? And these wolves, or foxes, they try to devour you. Okay, they come with beautiful, this you all know gems, right? Gems, how are gems? You have an outer sweet coating and inside this chocolate, right? So Satan, for youngsters, he gives like gems kind of thing. Outwardly it's very sweet, but inside it's all poison. He gives us sweetened poison, and if you take it, you are gone for life, right? So beware of false prophets, or beware of people like crafty people like Jonadab, who try to induce trouble to you, who put in a very dangerous zone and play havoc with your life. So be very careful, because outwardly they are like sheep. They're like good friends who want to help you. Hey, come on, Ray, tell me, Ray. I'll make sure that I'll share your problems. I'll make sure I'll pray for you. They'll all say, but they'll try to make life very tough for you. So we need to be careful with people who are very treacherously dealing with us, because they are sheep, but they are in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are foxes. Inwardly they are ravening wolves who will devour you, who will eat us up. Okay, that's the fifth one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth one, see, Matthew 10:17. Beware of men. Be careful about men. Men in the sense the people around us. Okay, children, do not trust anybody. Okay, do not trust anybody. Trust Jesus first. If you have a problem, go to him. Okay, go to your secret place, go to the feet of the Lord, tell him all your woes. The second one, go to Jesus, go to your parents. Apart from these two, do not go to anybody, because They will listen to you. They will say, "Ha," and they will bring your secret out. So do not trust any man. Okay. So we have to be very careful about men. If you're not careful about men, see, Tamar was not careful about the brother. She was not careful about Amnon. She was not careful about Jonadab. And that's the reason her life is gone down the drain. That's the sixth one. Okay. Seventh one, it says, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, end of the Sadducees. That means beware of hypocrisy. Youngsters, this Jonadab, what is he saying? Hey, come on, Ray Amnon, you pretend, Ray. You as if, you do action. It's like, dramatizing. You do action as if you have headache and stomachache and you're vomiting. Sleep, Ray. Take one drug and sleep, Ray. And you tell your father, Daddy, I'm sick. And let my sister come, let Tamar come and make chapatis. And I'll see chapatis and I'll eat. See, what all drama? And who is this? Who's dramatizing this drama? This friend, this crafty friend, this wicked friend, this destructive friend. So beware. That's hypocrisy. Hypocrisy in the sense you pretend to do you pretend to be someone where you're not that, right? So youngsters pretend a lot. There was my friend's daughter. She says, "Hey, come on, Ray Annie. What these girls think? What my son thinks? We are all nuts. We didn't study. This fellow, he'll in the bedroom. He'll sit. Ray. My friend is telling about her daughter and son. That fellow will sit. Where he'll sit? On the bed. He'll sit." And he'll put a laptop like this. She's saying, as a mother, I'm that side. This fellow will sit here, and the moment I come and see what is he, he'll change off. They think we are nuts, sir. We didn't study. I tell you, children, if you really are God's children, make sure that you open the laptop in a way where mommy, daddy can see. Okay. So this friend of mine, the moment the mummy comes, they'll change off the, what is that laptop? They'll change the page, no? Actually, they're watching something bad. And because the mother is that side, and the bed is this side, this fellow is leaning there, and the laptop is here, mummy is there. The moment mummy takes 4 steps, he'll change off and says, "Hallelujah, Stuti Mama," that song is there. He's pretending, right? And this mother says, "This girl or this boy think I'm nutter, I don't know." I tell you, children, hypocrisy, okay? Beware of hypocrisy. You be what you are. Do not cheat yourself. Not cheat your. I know you're not doing that. Again, I repeat. I'm talking to the wrong crowd, but these are things to be careful. Let's not that we get entangled in that. Okay, so that is the seventh one. Okay, eighth one, Colossians 2. So beware of hypocrisy, because Pharisees and Sadducees, they do a lot of hypocrisy. They try to portray what they are actually what they are not. Okay, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 1. Colossians 2:8. Beware lest any man spoil you through tradition. Out there in the world, I tell you, Tamar's life was spoiled, totally spoiled. She was such a precious child of God. But because of few things which the friend drafted for Amnon, her life, beware lest any man spoil you. They're out there in the world, men will spoil us, women will spoil us. They spoil our precious life. I tell you, children, you are very precious to the Lord. You're greatly honored in the Lord's presence. You're like rubies. You're of more worth. You do not know how precious you are. In Song of Solomon, it says, "Oh, my beloved, how beautiful you are. You do not know what you are." In Hindi, they say, "Aap kya hai?" You do not know what you are. You do not know. You are so precious to the Lord. Did you ever realize how precious you are to the Lord? But Satan is right there to spoil you. No matter how good you are, no matter how good you try to keep yourself careful, Satan is always there as a devouring, as a roaring lion to devour you. So be very careful. That's the eighth one. Ninth and 10th, and we'll continue next week. 2 Peter 3:7. Beloved, beware lest you also being led away with the errors of the wicked fall from your own steadfastness. So ninth one is be careful lest you fall. Okay. I told you, remember my mommy told, and in your spiritual walk, you should treat yourself as if you're walking on a bridge of ice. You should walk so carefully, thinking that every time I will fall. Okay, as if you're walking in the highest pinnacle of the mountain, and where from there you will fall. Like that you should walk. So it says, where lest the wicked fall from your own steadfast. You're steadfast, you're strong in the Lord, but careful lest you get led away by wicked people. Tamar was a beautiful girl. Amnon was a beautiful man, handsome man, and both of them were spiritual. But for Amnon to commit a sin and to Tamar to be fallen down, it's because a wicked person, Jonadab, was there to destroy the lives of youngsters. It says, "Lest you fall from your own steadfastness." I tell you, children, you are steadfast. You're firmly grounded in the word, but Satan out there will really pull you down. Okay, be very careful. And the last one, it says, Luke 12:15, it says, beware and be on your guard. I'm reading from NKJV, New King James Version. It is a beautiful verse, right? Beware and be on your guard against every form of greed. See, Amnon was greedy for lust, greedy for Tamar, but he was not messing up. He was just holding his temptation to himself. He was trying a battle. He was trying to win a battle. But to win that battle, when he was going forward, this guy, the friend, the crafty friend, pulled him back. Okay, it says, beware and be on your guard against every form of greed. So we need to be on guard. We need to have our the life jacket on, so that we will not get drowned in this world. Okay, so there are many things. I told you this is a very big chapter, and there's so many spiritual lessons as youngsters we need to learn. Okay, so God willing, we will continue this story and we will see. But today we learned how to be careful, how to be beware. Okay, because the Lord out there doesn't want you to mess up your life. Okay, and actually today I wanted to tell you 7 kinds of friends in the Bible, but there's no time. We will stop here. Okay, and we'll close this session with a short prayer. And we have Shaila Janti with us. Shaila Janti will close this session with prayer. Okay, and God willing, next